Leos, this is Queen Amun Ra coming to you with your general reading. Happy full moon to my Leos. Hopefully you sunshines are out there shining bright for the world to see. I know you are. I know you are, Leos. That 7-7 portal is still open for those of you all who are who are celebrating the 7-7 portal. We are gearing up already for the Lionsgate portal on 8-8, which is the peak. But let's focus on 7-7 right now, right? So 7-7 portal is still open. So energetically, it's still open, right? So portals are just energy windows. They're not single day events, right? So the peak of 7-7 occurs on July 7th, but its influence typically lingers for several days before and after, usually between July 4th through July 11th, right? So you may be still getting downloads, upgrades, intuitive messages. And it's overlapping with this full moon that we have in Capricorn, right? Full harvest moon in Capricorn. So you'd be thinking about themes that you could be thinking about would be like deepened spiritual awareness, soul aligned decisions, karmic cycles ending, right? Activations of inner knowing and destiny, releasing misalignment, those kind of things. So some of the things that you all can do, Leos, a journal, what's truth, what truth are you awakening to? Like what generational cycle, chain, or curse that's assigned to you from God to break, right? What is your specific assignment? Not with your sister, brother, cousin, aunt, uncle, parents. Y'all know, y'all get the point. Like, what does source assign you to break, right? Instead of you feeling like you got to take on everything, the burden of your entire family. What specifically is yours? You can journal about that after you pray about it and meditate on it. You can meditate. The second thing you can do is meditate or visualize stepping through a radiant doorway. Like, okay, I prayed about it, I meditated on it. I'm gonna step through this radiant doorway. I'm gonna do this. I can do this, right? You can set and refine your intentions, right? Because you prayed and meditated on it. So now, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So you gotta put some action behind it, right? Right. So, and you're a cheerful giver. So you're excited. You're taking on the challenge. You're cheerfully taking on the challenge because you know it's coming from source, right? And that's something you can stand on and take to the bank, the universal bank, right? So source is saying also, fourth thing you can do is do energy clearing or spiritual protection work, right? So you're protecting the entry points, not just in your physical body, but your home, like where you live, right? And then also your car, where you live, those kind of things. And you're also listening closely to signs, synchronicity, and repeating number patterns, right? So the 7-7 portal is not about rushing into action. It's about choosing alignment over urgency. So if you feel the call, the portal is still open to you. Let's dive into tarot. This is Queen Amun Ra again, coming to you with a general reading. So take only what resonates with you, you, and you, and you, and you. If you're interested in a personal reading, queenamunra.com. Let's go. All the answers I need are inside of me. That's it. That's where you're going, inside of you. That's where the answers are. All right. All right. I saw that Aquarius card on the end, the bottom of the deck there. That's your polarity sign. We have two planets that are currently retrograde. Pluto is retrograde in Aquarius, but Pluto will be in Aquarius until 2043, March 8th, I believe, until 2043. So the entire earth is being reset. Everybody is breaking generational cycles, chains, and curses. I also saw a page of wands. Somebody saw somebody as competition. There's something behind someone in court, possibly with a Libra, to show that they were an open enemy. So said something in open court. This is something that you can relate to, having people's backs, loved ones back, whether they were married into the family or actually blood relationship or friendship or whatever. You can relate to this, having people's back in court, spiritual court or physical court, but then they turn around and stab you in the back in court, spiritual or otherwise. So source is saying to you, that's something that you have in common. You know, how people will use whomever, you know, to be on the opposing side against you and will sacrifice whomever after all the sacrifices that you've made. So, and try to empty you out, like literally try to empty you out of whatever they feel like you have. If it's money, if it's emotions, just empty you of everything. Like hang you upside down like you on the movie Five Heartbeats. My office hours are 9 to 5. Right? Like literally like try to empty you out of everything. And so somebody is you know, after you poured your whole heart out to energy, somebody can relate to that at a cellular level. Somebody can relate to that, just how deep that wound goes. Like, yeah, just because somebody want to grandstand and be the center of attention. So somebody can definitely relate to that. Here's the 6 of Wands here. 6 is a very nurturing number. So somebody took great care in that 6th house. 6th house is a very meticulous house. Because it speaks to Virgo. Virgo is a very meticulous zodiac sign. So somebody, it doesn't speak, we're not talking about a particular Virgo, just so we're crystal clear. Source is saying to you, whoever this energy is, the energy really took great care and, you know, and a lot of time to, you know, do some things. The energy was overcritical. They were perfectionists. They were worrying about stuff, you know, they really just didn't need to worry about. But somebody, like I said, was grandstanding, wanted to be the center of attention. 2 energies wanted to be the center of attention, you know, just did the absolute most. Just did the most, right? Somebody was indecisive, a people pleaser. They were avoidant of a truth, didn't want to, you know, think for themselves. Just, you know, this is an opportunity to shine. Let's get in the spotlight. Let's just do it, right? Let's sacrifice somebody who was just asking for help, who was just asking for help. Somewhere in between all of this was a jealous love interest. And this is what you have in common, you know, with someone. But it was a jealous love interest. You know, like they come in with flowers and, you know, they on the outer appearance, they look like everything that somebody prayed for, right? But they have a predatory spirit, right? They prey on energies. So, you know, they coming in like they saving a day. On the outer appearance, it could be a man or a woman. Remember, this is genderless, right? So here's the 7 of Cups here. Source is saying to you, but something in you died. Like once you left something, like left the courthouse or like left, you know, left something in you died. Almost like a person is no longer just looking at outer appearance. It's just like, okay, you can't judge a book by its cover anymore, because some people, you know, they will take their 15 minutes and they'll, you know, they'll, no matter how much you have their back, no matter what you do, they will, I mean, for real, they will take a whole sword and stab you all the way in the back to the handle of the sword, right? And then try to empty you out, like literally take you for everything, and then turn around and tell people they don't understand how come you never want to see them again, talk to them, don't want to be around them, like you the one that's holding a grudge. And Source is saying, you learn how to save yourself. Somebody has learned how to save themselves, because on one hand, these energies seem like they're spineless, right? You think a snake doesn't have a spine, but they know how to climb a ladder. See how the snakes do have a spine, by the way. They know how to climb a ladder when they want something. When they want something else, right? They know how to climb a ladder, right? So they know how to use their sexual prowess when they want to climb a ladder. So Source is saying, you know, looking at the cards here, somebody was in an environment where they were drinking. There could have been drinking going on. It could have been something else going on. But these energies for you, you're detaching from energies who like to do a bunch of grandstanding and all of this other stuff. It's like all of, yeah, whatever, that you've had their back, you've protected them. This is, again, you had the same thing in common with somebody. Some of these energies, whoever, whether they were friends or past love interest or whatever, some of these, the reason why some people don't even know about some of the things that happened to them, maybe they got stopped for like drunk driving or being under some kind of influence, is because you stepped in, made some phone calls, whether it was your money or you were in a powerful position or whatever, to help some of these energies. And people will never even see it on their record because of whether it was your money or your influence. Could have been a organization, company you work for, maybe it was the government, whatever, whoever you work for, your money or whatever. But the first opportunity they got a chance to be in the spotlight to hurt you, they could not wait. They took it. They took it. So Source was saying something you worked from the ground up for. That's why you're completely detaching from those types of energies. That's why somebody doesn't look at the outer shell anymore. You're like, Somebody has had an awakening, both in your personal and your professional life. Somebody has had an awakening. This is why, like, some people go to the extreme. This is why some people, like, they don't date. This is why some people go to, and trigger warning, this is why some people go to different races. Not that that's right. That's why some people go to opposite sex. That's why some people are same sex, whatever. But for this, I don't feel like somebody is necessarily jumping to a different race because of that, right? If you date outside your race, I mean, that's you. Nobody's judging that. Or if you go to opposite or the same, whatever, nobody's judging that, at least not on this channel. But somebody used to be the type of an energy that the outer appearance did matter. Not that, you would, being a, because I see romance coming across somebody's mind. I mean, coming across somebody's life. I see love coming across somebody's life. But somebody has heard things about somebody, but you heard the same thing that almost mirrored what people have said about you. That you're a snake, that you got away with something, that you have a lot of gifts and talents, that you're this, you're that. You've heard a lot of things. And these energies, Source is trying to help somebody to recognize, how you've evolved, right? Have you learned how to save yourself by, like I said, you worked hard on yourself, just like other people have worked hard on themselves. Um, and so for them, their truth could be their truth. But guess what? Source is saying, so is yours. That's why you've kept your distance right here. You've kept your distance from these energies because you saw what they would do to sacrifice you. That's why you keep your distance. Some of these energies, you have seen them be drunk as a skunk, literally. But yet and still, nobody would know that because guess what? You didn't say anything about it. You ain't get on stage grandstanding, lying, telling lies about them. You protected them, right? You had their back. You protected them. That's why you got to keep your distance. That's why people have to know. Listen, what you did was not cool. That's what I'm seeing here on your cards. You're saying, no, what you did was not cool. You need to stay as far away from me as possible. That's why you use that same sword to cut them off in your personal and your professional life. And a lot of people can relate to that. No, we're not playing like we cool, like we not kikiing. We're not sitting around acting like we friends and we cool like that. No, you're not holding a grudge. You forgave people, but it's a firm no. We are not cool. We never getting back together. We're not friends, nothing. That was a space and time, and that was it. You get as far away from them as fast as you possibly can. These are the type of energies that like to take a picture with you. These are the type of energies, and tell everybody, oh, we're fine. We get along. See, we in the picture and stuff together. You could be just taking a picture for real, just for the kids. You could be taking a picture because it was an event, where people got together or whatever. But you out just getting as far away from them as possible. So somebody's learning how to stay focused. Somebody's learning how to stay focused. Anytime somebody uses a public platform to humiliate and embarrass people when you've already gone through enough humiliation ceremonies, you need to stay as far away from them as possible. And that's what Source is trying to tell you. There is another fire sign that did this to you in your in your own family. Just a fire sign. And if it's a fire, well, in the major arcana, it could be a Libra and a Pisces, but somebody has a fire sign. A Libra could have sacrificed somebody because it's a Libra's card right here. But somebody could have um, um, a Pisces could be involved, or somebody could have psychic abilities, but they could practice dark magic. If y'all understand what I'm saying, like high vibrating Pisces is a person who is empathetic, artistic, and spiritual, right? But a low vibrating Pisces would be someone who's an escapist, overly idealistic, and also vague, right? Somebody who doesn't really want to do the energy work. It's easy to just, practice dark magic. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, we put a spell on somebody, whatever. Um, but somebody was sacrificed and somebody went to court. Two energies were sacrificed. First of all, they kept these two energies apart from each other and they went to court, on these energies to sacrifice each other. Then they got on stage and started grandstanding and showboating, thinking, something was funny, trying to linking up. This is a number 8 right here, linking up. And so Source is saying, no, nothing is funny about that. And they were very meticulous in what they did, very meticulous, overly critical, perfectionist, worrying about, just worrying about something. Somewhere in this was an Aries. That's the polarity to the Justice card. Somewhere there's an Aries. Somebody was, so first impressions, again, looking at an outer shell and thought, and this is what you have in common. Somebody looked at an outer shell and forgot that you were a prayer warrior. You didn't need another person to pray. You went straight into prayer warrior mode yourself. So when we're talking about victory here, just like a quick victory against possibly an ex, it's the same thing that happened with somebody else, because again, you're talking about focusing on your own family dynamics. You don't have to look outside of your own family. You're talking about your own. You're talking about breaking generational cycles, chains, and curses. Somebody who either you was married to, or either you was married to them, or a family member, blood relatives, a friend who was like a family member tried to hang you out to dry. No, we're not cool. No, we ain't friends. No, don't be calling me talking about no kikiing. Let's hook up and let's link up and talk again like everything is fine and cool and copacetic. No, it is not. You can tell whoever what for real. You can tell whoever whatever. I do not care. I don't care. Is this you moved on? Yeah. I'm telling y'all. A lot of people had that in common. That's why people just quietly move on with their lives. They're just like, nah, we're not cool. Like, what you think this is? Or like you hear some people say, what you think this was? Really, you ain't even sticking around to hear the answer. Somebody just was looking for a whole new lease on life. Here's the Page of Pentacles here. No, that's not the frequency you're on. You're too high vibrational. If somebody want to grandstand and do all of this, trying to do all of this, be on center stage and they want the spotlight on them. Here's the thing. This you right here. You've been sitting right down there, clapping and cheering them on. And this is genderless, by the way, right? You've been right there, clapping and cheering them on. Everybody's not looking for the spotlight. Everybody's not looking for the spotlight. But now, the way they took the spotlight, guess what? You're trying to stay as far away from them as possible. With the quickness. You see them on one side of the street, your head turn around like an owl. You are dashing out of here. You yeah. You taking a leap of faith. They're gonna say that you turn your back on them. Nope, no, you didn't. Like I said, somebody just too high vibrational. You don't have time for all of that. You don't have time for all of that. They talking about, yeah, I wasn't prepared. But then to get up there with a whole prepared speech is like, okay, you know what? Go play with somebody else. So this is what I'm looking at you right here. So all of the answers that you need are inside of you. That's what Source is trying to tell you is like, yeah, yeah. All the answers that you need are inside of you. There's a somebody sacrificed you. These two energies right here. And this is, like I said, this is somebody's family. And what you, everything that you, like I said, all the answers that you need are inside of you. So when you deal with people outside of your family, you're just pulling back from your own family experiences, and you're just going like, they remind me of, you know, this family experience. I remember this family experience. They just remind me of that. So somebody has new love coming across their path, and you're just keeping your vibrations really, really high, you know, both in your personal and your professional life, because you've heard some things that just mirror the same thing about you. Same thing. Same thing that your family said about you, they say the same thing about them. And this is because people want to keep you and somebody apart. Whoever this energy is, they want to keep you and somebody apart. But somebody already knows how to handle a situation when you've had somebody's back, the way you've had somebody's back in love and had them stab you in the back. And that's why people keep their distance. That's why people just kind of sort of sit back in the cut and they just kind of wait. They just like, okay, let me kind of see how this person moves. Let me see how they conduct themselves. Because if I see any of that, I'm out. I'm out. That's you. That's you. You like, if I see any of that, I'm gone. And that's why some people leave relationships soon. They leave, people like, oh, they just run at the first sign of trouble. They've already seen it before. Who has time to be sitting around waiting? Leap of faith. They see people talking about people behind their back. They get right on up and walk out. They don't even want to hear it done. Nope. Mm-mm. Ten of Pentacles. Nope. Because they know their worth and they know their value. They know their worth and they know their value. They out. So that's what I'm saying for you. That's why some people have remained financially independent. They're out. They move on. Yeah, they work too hard to be, you know, around um, family and friends who talk about people who are trying to expand their brand. They're trying to expand their brand. They're trying to expand their business. And some people, they don't come back. They don't want to have anything to do with that. So that's what I'm saying for you here on your cards. Yeah, some people, they get on their boat and they just sail on. They sail on through the storms of life. They don't want to be bothered. Oh, yes. So this person is sitting inside of a crystal ball. They just did prayer and meditation life isn't, yeah. They said, you know, but they're responsible for their own life. Yeah, they tired of being around people. Every time you turn around, you know, they have to go back and forth to court. Somebody trying to sue somebody for something. It's just a bunch of drama all the time. They can't wait to sue somebody. They can't wait to take somebody to court for money. They always, just drama. So yeah, somebody is, yeah, something where somebody died, you know, and whether they left the courthouse or something, somebody just like, yeah, a lot of people can relate to that. That's why a lot of people stay single too. That's why a lot of people like, yeah, they used to be, you know, really like about relationships, but a lot of people, they just, mm-mm. So yeah, you do have new love coming across your path, but what I see here in your cards here is that somebody is going to be at the ground level. And this is what somebody's generational cycle chain and curse breaker is going to be for somebody, is recognizing your you have been on stage. Somebody has been on stage. Like somebody has, this is right here, the Six of Wands here. Somebody has achieved a lot. Like somebody is already full. This right here, Six of Wands here. You're already full, whether it's full in your career and something happened for you fast, like something happened for you quickly. And so, and you're very responsible energy, whoever you are. And so somebody's at a point in their lives where they can really pour into other people, like really nurture other people. Um, that, like I always say on my channel, well, I say a lot on my channel about Leos. Um, I feel like somebody would be a great mentor, like, just in my experience, a lot of people like giving Leos flowers. Like if you're around high vibrating people, they really like enjoy giving Leos flowers. I was about to name somebody that I see people well, I see a couple of Leos that I see, on social media, but I'm not gonna put any names on in these readings. But quite a few people like giving Leos their flowers publicly. Um, um, and so, whoever you are tuned into the channel, you want to make sure you're around people who really let you be in full high vibrating Leo mode. Like Leos have to be around. This thing about the sun. Imagine somebody being around trying to stifle the sun. That's not going to work. If you all Leos don't get from around people, like really break the chain of getting from around people fast, that you had their back. I mean, solid had their back. And they turn around and stab you in the back. I don't care if it's family members, friends, whoever. If you don't get from around them fast, so you can fully be in Leo mode. That is how somebody is going to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. So that when you do want to kind of sort of sit back and relax and cheer other people on, you're going to hear so much praise from people. That's how somebody's going to find the person, like really find the person that's going to be like, you're going to hear so much praise, like, this person, they've already achieved this stuff, all the opposite of what you've heard from somebody else saying, oh, you're arrogant, you're domineering, you're stubborn, this and that. You're going to hear the opposite, the polar opposite from someone who may not have had the same confidence, that you have just being born a Leo, if that makes sense to somebody. But somebody's about to feel like they have this whole new lease on life. Yeah, emotions are running high. It's going to feel like a super moon for someone. That's how high emotions are running because you made a lot of sacrifices to get to a point. I don't think anybody really knows too many Leos that cannot, where the spotlight is not on them in some way, shape, or fashion, whether it's for good or bad. Just because y'all are ruled by the sun. So all the answers that you need are inside of you. Yeah. So yeah, there's a fire sign, 2 fire signs. That source is saying one could be a sun fire sign, one could be a moon fire sign. That's what's saying you need to stay as far away from them as quickly as possible because they just have that competitive, whoever they is, it's like a competitive spirit. But they compete with everybody and it's just really, really unhealthy. So some kind of chain needs to be broken. They partner with a church or a mosque or temple or something like that to stab somebody in the back, 2 people in the back. Just open enemies. Like they don't even care. Somebody came to them asking them for some help and all they could think about was like somebody got away with something. Nobody knows whether something is a truth or a lie. It's just a bunch of, at the center of something is an Aries, and I know this because of the polarity of the Justice card. That's the Aries is the polarity sign of Libra, right? That's the polarity sign. So a bunch of people kind of sort of jumped out there, like made an impulsive decision to save somebody. They decided to save somebody who was actually a jealous X. They decide to partner or side with somebody who is, that's why I not say this because it's inverted. Decide to save somebody who was a jealous person, all because somebody felt like, because they just looking at an outer appearance. And nobody, and if it's around money, if it's around money, somebody's not seeing how, what kind of job somebody worked. They didn't ask about paycheck stubs. They didn't ask if, you know, what somebody's financial history. What, I mean, just nothing. People just looking at financial. I mean, they're just looking at if somebody was younger than somebody or older than somebody, or if somebody had a house or cars, or they just looking at the physical existence of stuff. And people are asking questions. Yeah, people are asking questions. Yeah, so you have a lot of ideas now that something is over. You have a whole lot of ideas. Yeah. Yeah, you have a whole lot of ideas moving forward, but somebody is a very nurturing spirit looking at the cards here. And that could have come from someone's parents. And I'm looking at this right here, but yeah, that's what people, no matter how much money is involved, that's what people who know their worth and their value, they're not sticking around. They don't care how much money you have. For real, they are not sticking around. You put them in a and just all this fire right here, you put them in a situation where they're in survival mode, they out. I don't care who you are, who you know, they are gone. That's not a motivator for them. Survival mode, them or their kids, they out with the quickness. And that number 3 right there looks like something had to inspire somebody to jet. Like number 8 right there, that's like flying, like an airplane flying, like something inspires somebody to get out of there. Might put somebody in survival mode. Somebody must have threatened somebody. If somebody is in that kind of mode where violence is involved or something, yeah. Mm-mm. They're in that kind of mode. They'll put them in that kind of mode where they would bait somebody into something and then switch up on again. So who in the world will go back to that craziness? So that's what I'm seeing here in the cards. That is what I'm seeing here in the card. That's why people stay far away. That's why you see these two bowls here in the Justice card. That's why some people stay as far apart. They will move to the other side of the planet to stay away from certain energies because they've already been sacrificed. They will stay as far away from people as possible. So that's what I'm seeing here in the cards. Hopefully this has been helpful, but you will be cutting ties with certain energies. Yeah, you're cutting ties. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is what you and somebody have in common because looking at your cards here, somebody is kind of going back through a memory of something, and I don't know who these two fire signs. I mean, y'all would have to figure it out. I don't know. You have to pray about it. I don't know who these two fire signs are because I'm looking at fire suns, fire moon. But yeah, somebody has gained some kind of clarity now as to why somebody just moved on. I keep trying to tell people, 7 of Swords, this is why people, when they leave, they take their power with them. They don't have to make any disparaging comments, no nothing. That's why some people, they just quietly move on. And it looks like somebody could have handled something quietly in private. They didn't say anything negative. They just quietly handled something and just moved on with their lives. Yeah. Just cut ties with people and just moved on. Yeah. Because, yeah, people don't want to have to go through. That's what this looks like. Whoever this is, whether you're a man or a woman, doesn't really matter. So, yeah, because people don't want to have to go through, you know, like being baited into something and like some kind of violent situation or whatever. You don't want to go through all of that. So yeah, all the answers that you need are inside of you. That's how somebody is maintaining their financial independence. That's what I'm saying for you all, Leos. But yeah, so you're keeping some good memories with you as far as whoever these family members are. But so that's why some people stay away from certain family members. They just, I mean, certain family member and their friends. I mean, and their kids, because they violent. I mean, I just know. I don't know. That's no other word I can use for they violent. Yeah, they try to bully other people's kids, and yeah. So yeah, but that's what I'm seeing here in your cards. But this is a generational cycle chain and curse that you're breaking, right? Things are happening for you really quickly, and you're very responsible, and you're focusing on like your family and stuff like that, and like trying to get your family to where they're trying to get to, and you could have had a loved one who was baited into something, and you're trying to stay focused and trying to help them with some stuff, but somebody saw something that just says, mm-mm. Yeah, you're turned off from violence and family, you know, family members. And I'm telling y'all, that's why certain people don't go around family members, because when emotions start running high, coupled with drinking and all this other stuff, people don't talking about they don't remember what they said and did, but they would sit around and start laughing and talking about, oh, y'all remember they remember when the police pulled up and somebody got arrested. I mean, just crazy, wilding out, nuts. So source is saying to you, yeah, emotions are running high, but you know where to put those emotions. Somebody knows how to harness their energy, know how to protect your energy. And that's where you are, you know, the sacrifices you made. That's why you stay away from certain energies, you know, around full moon, because they practice dark moon magic. Them and their kids, they practice dark moon magic. Yeah, they acting like the children of the corn. So so yeah, all the answers that you need are inside of you. That's what I have for you. Let's see. Let's see what else we got going on. Yeah, they out here, child, acting wild. You're very close to achieving your goal. hmm That is why I tell my community when they log in, please do not practice dark moon magic, but be so, you know, understand that there are a lot of people who do. And when the emotions are running high, then somebody will easily say, you know, the liquor made them do it. You know, another spirit took over. They swinging and fighting on each other and doing all of this. And source is saying to you, you stay as far away from people. True offering. Yeah. You're an eagle flying above all of those crows. Here we have true offering takes what can be an unbearable cross and returns it to love. Yep. You're staying away from that mess. But who need to be waking up in a cell somewhere? Well, they don't remember what happened. So yeah, yep, here we have inconsistent. Yeah, somebody's been wearing a lot of masks. Yeah, somebody knows somebody who's been wearing a lot of masks. So something else is going on. Yeah. Something else has been going on within somebody's family. They've been wearing a lot of masks. Mm-mm. Somebody come to them and ask them to say something. Somebody, they just, anyway. But yeah, this is going on in your family. Yeah, it's everybody breaking some kind of generational cycle chain and curse. But this looks like whenever the younger generation comes around asking for help, a different spirit comes over it. Just whoever this is, it's like if they got an issue with the people's parents, they take it out on the kids. This is like craziness behind the parents' back. So luck is on your side. Your luck is on your side. Somebody could have a moon in Sagittarius. Somebody could have a moon in Sagittarius. Yeah. Yeah. So so you sitting back and just kind of like somebody sitting back and kind of like seeing something play out for itself is actually working to your advantage to see something play out for itself, you know. Mm, 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 mm. That is what I have for you. So keep shining, Leos. But that's a generational cycle, chain, and curse that I see you all breaking. I see you really kind of sort of sitting back and just, you know, in an audience and just watching the crap show go down and see what's what. Just sitting back and just watching for yourself and just like seeing who's telling the truth and who's lying about something, whatever it is. Alrighty. That is what I'm seeing here. That's how somebody's living a softer life. That's how somebody's living a softer life. Alrighty. Okay.